Welcome to Instant Discussions, episode 8, The Game.
The Game.
You all just lost. Anyway, yes.
I never play that game.
That's a fun one. I think we should talk about... I want to talk about that game, actually.
Why?
And we're starting this. Well, because it's a part of internet culture, and I actually think it's kind of interesting. It's not like the greatest game in the world, but it actually kind of connects to this movie.
Tony has no idea.
It kind of
Paper, rock, scissors?
No, the game.
No, it kind of connects to this movie. So anyway, if you haven't seen the 1997 movie The Game, go watch that now and then play this again.
Oh shoot, the 97 version?
Oh, damn it, you watched the other one.
Oh no.
This is going to be an interesting discussion. So these girls, I don't know, they were just girls on the cover of the other one. I didn't even check to see what the other game was about. Anyway, so The Game, not this one, the internet version of The Game.
Yes.
The idea behind it is, once you know about the game, you're instantly playing the game. One of the rules I read said that everyone is playing the game no matter what, but I think you have to know about the game to actually be playing it. So once you know about the game, you're instantly playing it. The way that you win the game, there's no way to win the game, but you can lose the game. And
I guess the object is to lose as infrequently as possible.
Yes, you want to lose less than anyone else. Now, the way that you lose the game is by thinking about the game. So
It's not about it.
if
So you lost.
someone mentions the game, that then makes anyone who knows about the game think about the game, therefore they lost the game. So just by this video being titled The Game, anyone who plays the game and sees us post this link to the game, they've lost the game just by seeing
Potentially,
that.
unless.
I don't know. What I think is fun about the game, to me,
If they watch this, they've lost. If they watch this, they've lost.
When I first learned about the game, I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. But what's fun to me about the game is when you don't think about it for a long time, for months at a time, or years at a time, and then something comes up that reminds you about it, and you get that feeling in your head, you remember that, and then you think, I just lost.
That sounds like the worst game ever.
It's a pretty terrible game, except that it's
game.
simple and
really
free and lame. Anyway.
So like all the Guatemalans are just winning
But the
now.
thing I think that connects to that game is that it's...
Was that an intuition that they don't just think?
Like, you don't...
Oh, Guatemalans? I don't think at all. They just do.
I just try to gloss over this.
They're like jackrabbits.
Just ignore them.
And I just pointed it out late.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
But it was.
That's why he needs to start drunken debates again, and then...
You can talk all
That's
talk,
where those-
talk all about Guatemalans.
Those Guatemalan comments.
Those Guatemalan comments.
So what I think is interesting about that is that in the movie, The Game, once he signs the contract to say and they tell him the contract is to confirm that he is aware that the game exists.
Yeah.
Once he signs that contract and is aware that the game exists, it's game on. Anything. But he doesn't know when the game is being played and what's a part of the game. And that's kind of like that internet game, is once you're aware that that exists, now at any moment...
But that's the only rule?
Something can happen. That's like this. I mean, in this game, there's no
there's
real
a huge
rules.
difference. So
Anyway, there's a huge difference in that, but it's the poor man's version.
Okay, super poor man's version.
Because the game is the extremely rich man's version.
Okay,
Fair
enough.
You don't even want to see the price tag. Now, I was starting to look up some information, do some research behind the production of this. So David Fincher directed this. He's one of my favorite directors.
What else has he done?
So the films that he has done, before, his first one was Alien 3, which is the only one of his I haven't seen. I need to see all the rest of the Alien movies. So I'm going to look that up. And he wasn't too proud of that one because of the production. He didn't think they let him do what he wanted. They didn't trust him. Then he made 7.
Oh!
Yep. Okay, so that was like his first film on his own type thing. Yeah,
he's done a lot of good films.
Then he made The Game. So this is his third film. And then Fight Club, then Panic Room.
Fight Club's amazing.
Yes, Fight Club. Then Panic Room, which...
Panic Room?
It's
not
pretty
bad.
good. It has some good concept in it. Then Zodiac.
Oh.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
I haven't seen
Then Curious Case of Benjamin Button. It's one of his more simpler films because of the source material. And that wasn't one of my favorites. And then The Social Network, which I love
really
that
good.
one.
Yeah, it's good.
And then The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
Haven't seen it.
The Dutch one?
No, he did the remake. Yes.
It was good.
I've heard a lot of people say the remake was better.
And then he produced.
I thought so.
I haven't seen the original one yet.
The original one is corny.
I watched the new one first because I'm a Fincher fan. And I just wanted to see what he could do.
Yeah.
And then he did House of Cards. He produced House of Cards. And
I
he
love
directed the
House
first
of
two episodes.
Cards.
Isn't it
Oh my
great?
god, it's amazing.
So good.
Oh,
You've
seen it?
We need to have a special
It's
episode.
on Netflix.
Yeah, we'll have a special episode sometime where we talk about that because it takes longer to watch. You have to watch the whole stuff of it.
Wait a minute. Who stars in that?
Kevin Spacey.
Kevin Spacey.
Actually, I had just saw an ad the other day at a bus stop where I saw Kevin Spacey on it, and I was just like, what? And I was just walking by, and I didn't really pay attention, but I just knew I saw Kevin Spacey's face, and I was just like, Kevin Spacey?
If you like the Social Network,
right? It's the first one where Netflix made this series.
It's
just
the
for
second
them?
original series.
Oh,
Their first one was Lilyhammer.
Oh,
it's pretty good.
Really?
Lilyhammer's alright. I mean, House of Cards is even better because it's
amazing.
Isn't that a TV show?
Both of them are TV shows.
Okay.
Well, they're not TV shows. They're Netflix shows.
Yeah.
Well, what's great about the Netflix shows is they put them all up at once, and then you just watch every single. You
so maybe I'll go through the whole season. We can do an extra episode or something.
Yeah, we'll do a bonus episode of it sometime, or
because it's a TV show.
Special episode. So watch House of Cards, and eventually we'll talk about that. But now we're going to talk about the game.
Okay.
So those are the films he's done, and a lot of directors that I really like. Usually I like ones that are writer directors, like Quentin Tarantino, Robert Rodriguez, Kevin Smith. People who they write the material and then they direct it. Mm-hmm. It feels like they're more of their own storyteller.
Yeah.
But David Fincher picks really good. Yeah. David Fincher picks really good projects to do, and he has his own style. And so all of these films, he didn't write these films, but they all have the David Fincher quality to them. So he definitely brings that. Now I looked up the writers of this one, of the game. Their other notable works include Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines, Terminator Salvation, Surrogates. Ooh. They really like robots. They wrote Catwoman. So, and Triple X, The Return of Xander Cage.
God.
Now, I didn't see the sequel. I only saw the original, and I didn't see the sequel because I saw the original.
Wow. So we credit the director.
And that's why David Fincher gets credit for this, because he went on to do Fight Club. They went on to do Catwoman.
Halle Berry is hot, though.
So it shows that, like, every step of the way can be a different thing. Maybe those scripts that they wrote were good scripts. Swordfish. Maybe this script for the game wasn't good, and David Fincher... There's a third writer who's uncredited who did another pass on it, and that could have helped it. I don't know. So now let's actually talk about the movie.
The movie itself.
The movie.
Whose
Now,
choice was it? Yours?
It was my choice. You had seen it. Steffan had seen it before.
I was thinking about choosing it, actually, at some point or another.
Tony, you hadn't seen it. So what did you think of it?
Yeah.
So, what it was to me was it's the same thing as Master and... the
Master and Commander?
No, the Master. Is that what's the one with the...
The Master.
Yeah, the Master.
Yeah.
Because it's a really good story, great acting, but there were just bits of it that were way too slow.
There were a few.
Like, the premise was awesome. It took a long time at the beginning. I'm like, I don't care about these flashbacks. It didn't really have that much to do with the movie.
Flashbacks are kind of odd.
Yeah.
They're a little odd in there. Except, I mean, only a few of them really kind of hold on.
But you see it later, him jumping off, so you could have just took that out. Or at least, it's too much. And it was, but, I mean, I love the premise. Oh
yes.
My God. If they were to redo it, I think it would be amazing with a different writer. Oh, it would be awesome.
I think they could redo this movie, and especially since it's an early David Fincher film,
and I don't think it's too popular
he can do
either.
More now. No, I mean it's not that popular of a movie. I think it's gaining even more. It's getting new popularity now because it's on instant watch. Mm-hmm. But I was a huge David Fincher fan. I'd seen a bunch of his films, but I hadn't heard about this one. I wasn't enough of a David Fincher fan apparently to look up his IMDb page. But
it was Weird Al.
I mean, yeah, but it's one that now is getting more notice. But I think you could modernize it, maybe trim up some of the parts that were a little slow.
A lot of slow parts.
I think that might have also been just accredited to the time as well.
Kind of.
Movies kind of. I mean, every time movies,
it was like let's listen to footsteps echoing.
It's not as slow as a film from the 70s. There they had this very long, and that's the thing of now with digital editing.
Yeah,
films are a lot tighter.
They're a lot tighter.
Yeah. So he signs the agreement that acknowledges that the game exists.
And even that was slow. It was like, okay, we get it.
I think the reason why they tell him he's going to be there for about 2 hours max.
Yeah.
And he's there for much longer. Now, there are multiple reasons I think why they did that. One, it's to test his limits of frustration.
Yeah, how long? I was thinking, how long is he actually going to stay here?
That's part of the test. Another thing is, now even though he brings the first camera into his house, there's other things that they had to go into his house to inspect. They have to learn things about him. They have to replace weaponry. They have to do things to make the game safer.
Yeah.
So I think they actually, I mean, when he had stripped down to get the physical and stuff. So at some point they got his keys, made a copy of his keys, did that. Yeah. They could have run to his house, done all that stuff at that moment, so that by the time the game starts, everything is in place. So I think that while they have him in there, they could be doing all this other stuff.
Oh, but the chick's home all day, right?
The maid.
The maid's home.
Yeah, she's there, and I think she might be in on it as well. She should be. Everyone most people that he knows are in on it because they're in that final birthday party. They know that there's something.
You know what would be awesome though? Just one guy was like, "Hey," at the very end. So he's gonna get you to jump off.
Ruins the whole thing for him. It's a very tough thing, and I think that's why they have to kind of pay some of those people as well.
Yeah, that would be so expensive.
So they have people that he knows in on the game. Most everyone he knows is in on the game. Some of his business partners might not, or some of the people he's doing business with might not be in on it.
It's like ex-wife.
But at least the people he works with all the time are in on it. Anyone that's going to be invited to that final party is in on it. But then they also have the paid actors who he doesn't know who are in on it, so those are the new people thrown into it. But like the Chinese people outside the restaurant, they were in on it, Maybe. But they were just enjoying the watching. Like those ones, they don't have to manipulate them.
Yeah. Maybe
they could have been, but that's one that you don't really need to pay them to do it. I don't know.
Hey, drunken debates.
Yes.
I'd say so.
I wasn't even talking about because they're anyway.
The Chinese. They'll do it for $1.
No, because they're poor, not because they're Chinese, you racist. Oh
another thing that makes it even better is after he signed the agreement. So once he signed the agreement, they can do anything they want. It's game on. So part of that includes they tell him that his application's rejected.
Yeah.
So now he doesn't. Now he's even if he was thinking about the game before, now he's not thinking about it because they rejected me. So. Okay, I'm not playing the game anymore.
But for me, too, right away, it's like, that's kind of obvious. Like, if I was him, I'd be like, this is obvious. They're just messing with you.
Yeah, I think different people would come about the game different ways. And
he's a rich CEO.
Yeah, this is kind of a... This reminds me of Citizen Kane in that way, and the lost childhood, and that's kind of the reason they show those flashbacks. He's now so focused on business that he doesn't have any fun, and that's what his brother's being playful with him at the beginning of that, and trying to get into this game, and it's a life-changing experience that he wants him to have because he's gone so much into this business world and is only focused on business. So part of that is he only goes to the game because it's convenient, because he's talking with someone else, having another business meeting in that building, notices that CRS is right there, so whoever he was talking to had to have been part there in on it to lead him there. He had to have been led there.
Yeah. It was all planned out.
Yeah, so part of that's planned out beforehand. But they don't go too crazy with him until he signs the contract, because he has to agree to it first for them to start doing it. But they'll lead him to it. So he's only there because it's convenient, and fine, I'll do this because his brother gave him the gift. It'll appease him. He gets into that. So he's completely now put off the game. He's not thinking that that's part of the game because he doesn't care about it that much. He cares a little bit that he's rejected only because how could you reject him? He's awesome. Like,
he is pretty awesome.
No one rejects me. No one says no to me. How can you say I'm rejected from this game?
That's true.
So then when he sees the clown, he's not thinking about that. He's initially it's set there to remind him of his dead father, and his brother could have provided him with that information, or they could have looked something up because it seemed to have been in the news.
Well, yeah, I mean, you see his file.
Yeah,
and you see the whole story. So I mean, they did the background, a very extensive background check on it. So they knew.
So he brought that one in, but I think there's other ones in there. But then he learns the rules of the game, or the purpose of the game.
Yeah, and that's when I started to like it, because up to there I was like, oh god, this is kind of boring, and I don't care about him at all, this character.
Yeah,
but then you see the clown, and he's creepy. and then the manipulation of the news, and I was like, okay,
yeah,
all right.
It started getting a little bigger of this game. They're manipulating the news broadcast that he watches every night.
And then at that point, for me, it was like thinking, okay, they have to do this, and they have to intercept this, and this is how they do, everything. That's what I like. I like thinking about how did they get to that point.
Yeah,
particularly in the 1970s.
Each
or 1990s.
1997.
Especially 20 years ago.
Wow, all the way back then. Yeah. Yes.
15.
Yeah, 15. A whole 15 years ago. God, it was crazy back then.
56K.
How'd they do it without an iPhone? I don't even know. So the purpose of the game is to discover the purpose of the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's the whole reason for the game, and that's a fun goal. Everything about this game it makes me want to play it. Mm-hmm. It's like you don't know why the game exists. Once you figure out why the game exists, the game's over.
Yeah.
And everything can be part of the game, but not everything in your life is part of the game. Not necessarily. Yeah. But anything could be a part of it.
Yeah, that was also the cool part. You're looking at things and you're like, oh.
Yeah, is that it? Like when he misses so many things early on. Mm-hmm. There's the clown head. The exact same clown head on that keychain, on that rattle, but there's stuff that he doesn't go,
and that's creepy.
Doesn't go near it
for like a baby.
He's supposed to follow that one guy, and he doesn't. He eventually goes in there because they gave him the CRS pen that leaks to get him to the restroom.
Yeah.
The guy's asking for the toilet. Just go into the next stall. No, can't be bothered.
And they knew he was going to do.
That's what he was supposed to go there. That was a path he could have taken, but he's still not in there yet. There are all these ways until they have to force him to be like.
See, I like to think
follow that woman.
I like to think that when he asked for the toilet paper, go to the next stall, and there was a glory hole. Maybe that was nice. I was just thinking that.
So they force him. They have to force.
No, yeah, they're forcing him all the way.
What you're thinking?
That
is kind of funny though. Yeah, you're right. Like they had to physically give him the note.
Yeah, they had to physically give it to him. I didn't take 2 minutes of this. It was just those beginning parts that I was thinking of each of those moments where it had to have been part of that. So he's still not into playing the game. Another thing I like because they replaced the weapons, so they reveal at the end that they had replaced the weapons, except they didn't replace that one. Except they did.
See, that's like, for me, I'm like, I would grab something. I would grab my phone and just hit him in the, orbital socket with it,
Maybe, except that that's why they let him believe that he had the one gun that they didn't catch. So that they're giving him that extra step, that now he can use that. Because if they hadn't let him believe that, then he might have done that. I might
have tested it, though.
He might have physically attacked them. But he tested it, when he tested the earlier gun, he gets the gun from the private investigator, the guy who's following him. That's the first one he grabs, and he's assuming that it's blanks. Because if it's a game, of course they're not going to use a real gun. That's ridiculous. He shoots the tire to test it, and the tire pops. So then he realizes it's real. Except I was thinking, when I was rewatching it, it looked like there's a delay. After he shoots it, there's like a second.
See, but is
where
that
nothing
part
happens,
of the movie,
and then
though?
it pops. Now, I think that's intentional.
Is it intentional, or is that...
I think it's intentional because it is a fake. Because we know that it's a fake because later on we realize that. We learn that. They don't want him to hurt anyone because he could have shot the PI. And if that was a real gun, that's way too risky for them. They don't want people to actually die, or he could shoot himself. But if he shoots the tire, they could have things in all of the tires ready to go.
It's kind of a depressing end to your game. You try to kill yourself, and it's just blanks.
That's why it's... I think they have to look at his psychology to try to see
thing,
how he would try to kill himself, and they've studied him enough with all that long questionnaire to know that if he's on a rooftop, has just shot his brother, that he would jump off the roof. Because that's what they needed him to do.
Or get pushed off by some guy.
Or get pushed off.
See, but out of all their planning and everything...
That's what they could have done if they have nothing else worked.
Oh. How would they have escaped? How would he have escaped if he didn't have the roll-up thing? Or not figured it out? Maybe he got hit in the head.
Which roll-up?
When the taxi goes in the water.
Yeah. That
was
the
one where you're
she even said, but she said on the roof that they even had, diving team in place.
Yeah.
That there was always a failsafe.
They're always monitoring him. They've got ways around it. They're hoping by that point he is realizing that there's a game going on, and So luckily he did notice, and they were able to.
Oh, that reminds me. One thing that I didn't like about the writing is it was like, he's talking to a woman on the phone. She's like, oh, John, or I forgot his name, Sean Penn's character, and she's like, oh well, I've always liked your brother, and like they use like conversations that are kind of out of place. With like if you're just talking to somebody about somebody, like, oh, I always liked your brother or sister, like they don't do that in real life, or using their names over and over. Like I don't go
Conrad.
John.
Sometimes that's
John. How you doing?
Yeah, that's a problem in a
like,
lot of scripts, and that's I think that's tough to believe. And that was the very first class I took was telling you don't do that because
because that was the beginning of the movie, like forcing names and forcing who they are to that person.
Yeah.
You see that a lot usually in
Cartoons,
pilots of TV,
little for kids.
pilots of TV shows because they need to introduce everyone. So usually, what you need to do in a script generally is you want to, if you need to introduce their names, or their names are going to be important to
have
know.
Have a new person show up.
Have a new person show up and
introduce
them to them. That's
writing 101.
So
next week,
it's not the strongest script, but the concept of it.
The concept was awesome. Like I wish somebody did a little mini game on me.
Yeah.
Not a crazy one, just a mini one.
I want to do the game on someone, but it costs so much money that you have to get to do this length of a game. It depends how long you get them going on it.
An hour long.
You just got to send them to Mexico,
Yeah. You want to sign up because they're cheaper labor over there. I get it.
Yeah.
You want them to forget about the game too, so it's that thing of signing up, and they told it could start at any moment.
Yeah.
So they started it pretty quickly after he started, but you could have waited a month or a year.
I mean, they even kind of started it beforehand because the waitress was there before when he even handed it to him.
Yeah,
when Conrad even handed him the.
Yeah.
No, wait, the waitress?
Mm-hmm.
She wasn't there the week before, was she?
Maybe. Wasn't she?
She even comments on it. She's like, "Didn't you notice I wasn't there the week before?"
She didn't comment on that.
Yeah, she did.
Well, she said that
when they were in the
I know what you're talking about, but I'm pretty sure she was there. And that it was that what she was trying to say. This is a place that he went often, but that she didn't show up until he'd given yeah.
Even that they could have she had to have been the best actress.
She was really
because she has to be in it the whole time.
But just her whole performance was really good. I was impressed with her. I haven't seen her in anything else, I don't think, but I thought she did very, very well.
Yeah, I don't usually. I think I'm mostly just against.
Women.
I get it. No, I get it with Sean Penn in life. So I don't watch a lot of his films
because he's a douche.
But every so often when I do watch one of his films, I'm like, it looks good. He did a good job.
He did fine in this.
Yeah, he did.
He's just such a douche.
Yeah,
like Matthew McConaughey. He's such a douche.
But he's also a good guy too, because he does all that. Like he goes out and rescues people and helping out everywhere. Like I don't know.
Bono,
there's just something
like Bono's a douche, but he does a lot for this and that. Yeah. But then he puts his hat on a plane to take up one seat. It's like really douchebag. But anyway, tangent.
I didn't hear about that.
You heard about that?
No.
He got his favorite hat in a box and took up a seat on a plane and said,
"Did he buy a ticket for this?"
Yes.
Okay, if he bought the ticket for the hat, then that's fine.
No, that's douchebag.
No, you can do whatever you want if you buy the ticket for the plane.
That's his.
If you want to have a private plane but don't want to have a private plane, you just buy all the seats on the plane, and now you paid way more than just buying your own plane because you want to have the larger plane, of course.
I'm not gonna say anything because if every rich person in the world did that, the economy would be a lot better.
Yeah.
If every
if that's how they shipped their hats.
Yes.
All right, fair enough.
Instead of shipping it through UPS.
Okay, so the game.
Now this. In thinking about trying to do this in real life, now the thing
that's the first thing I did after I was like, I'm going to do this to somebody. What are we going to do?
The most difficult thing I think about doing this in real life is filming all of it.
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't get to see. It's a lot easier to do it when they don't know. Because not knowing you're being watched, you have to have hidden cameras everywhere. It gets really complicated with that. Mm-hmm. Now, if we're in a world with Google Glasses, like if those get more
Google
popular,
Contacts.
Google Contacts would be better. But just the Google Glasses, if that becomes a permanent thing, like that, we are aware that everyone has that. Then you don't think about that as a factor of someone filming.
Yeah,
the game.
Google braces.
Google braces. Yeah,
Everyone's
smiling all the time.
Go for it, cop.
But if you do it without filming it, I think you can get away with it a little more.
Yeah,
if you can convince people to go in on it, and it depends how much you go into it. Now, to replace bullets with blanks in every gun that they own, and to be aware of all that stuff for them, and to completely customize it for them gets tough. To have the divers standing by, like the extremes they go to are tough to match. But you could do this on smaller scales on your friends. So in thinking about ways they do this in real life, when the last year at Knott's Halloween Haunt, the advertisements for one of their mazes made it sound similar to this kind of thing.
Sort of, yeah.
Because they were saying it was supposed to be a customizable, or it's a private maze, but they said it was focused around you, or personalized, is what they said.
Yeah.
On one of the advertisements. Now it's not entirely personalized. But it was an interesting thing of they put you into this. There was one maze. There was it's separate fee.
You had to pay. Yeah, you had to pay.
$60.
$60
up to 6 people.
Everyone who went was glad they went.
Yes, I went with a group. Ended up being a group of 5.
Really?
We tried to get a group of 6, so it's about $10 a person.
Yeah,
to get
yeah.
A group of 6.
You can have.
So you went through it.
Yeah.
I worked there.
He worked there.
Oh.
I went, but I did go.
He went through it beforehand.
I did go through it a few times.
It's fun because it's unlike the normal mazes. There, you just walk through the maze, and
got lucky.
It's stuff pops out of you, whatever. But there's all the other people around. This is just your group. If you paid $60 just for yourself, you'd be in there alone.
Yeah.
And each room that you go into, there are puzzles in it, but you don't know what the puzzles are. You have to.
I always wanted to do something like that. That's awesome.
It's really, really cool.
It's pretty cool, and the least you know about it, the better. That kind of thing. So it's similar. It's not it's not just like this version of the game, but it's that type of. It's going after that kind of element.
For me, it'd be just a bunch of Middle Easterns.
What I was hoping that they would do is make it even more like that. You pace it in the park, and then at any moment, you could be put into this game, and then you have to start solving these things.
Something happens,
you get thrown into a big old bag by some clowns, and you get tossed into a room.
Because you've signed
in a room with no windows and no doors.
See, part of the contract that they make you sign beforehand is saying, like...
Oh, they really have a contract?
Yes, because they can touch you, they can interact with you, because normally they're not allowed to interact with you. This one, it's like you're signing that away.
How long did that take to go through the thing?
To go through the whole... I don't know.
To go through the maze?
Yeah, it's about 20 minutes to an hour.
Dude, that's awesome.
It's 20 minutes.
It depends on how good you are at solving the puzzles and stuff.
And doing... Yeah,
so,
it just depends on your experience.
That's kind of... But even more like this game, something that's even closer to it, I think, and I've been watching the Joe Schmo Show, which you can watch the latest seasons on Hulu Plus. Unfortunately, it's not available on the free Hulu, but for $7.99... pay for a month and just watch them all.
Totally worth it.
They're all up there right now.
Just for the community.
Oh, you get all community. It's good stuff. Anyway, it's not Netflix, but...
I'm not gonna probably...
Yeah. But the Joe Schmo Show, the concept behind that is it's a fake reality show. But the one person who they pick from, like, people do casting to get on the show like it's a regular reality show, he thinks that it's a real reality show.
Right.
But everyone around him is improv actors.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And the entire game is for him.
Right.
And it's focused around him, and they're all challenging him. But it's that idea that he's surrounded by improv actors. Just like in this one, all the people around him are improv actors.
It's like hardcore improv in this movie.
Yeah. Each person has to make that split decision. So each actor has to, depending on what he does, they have to act around that and not letting him suspect anything along the way. Because as soon as they think that it's part of the game, then it's too easy for him. He's just solving puzzles, and he's not reacting normally. It's not as fun if he's just solving puzzles.
Yeah.
But so part of that is in the game they then add the layer of CRS being the evil company that's stealing the money or doing this, or there's tied to some other things that we don't know about, and that's why since his brother's in on the game, he pushes him towards that, and everything that they're thinking of with the CRS is a scam, and that now makes him think of a new level to it. So he's not just thinking about it being a game. He's now thinking about these horrible people and that they're lying to him in other ways.
And then his lawyer's in on it.
Yeah.
Everybody's in on it.
Damn you all! And, yeah.
For some reason, I was kind of hoping at the very end he ended up being insane.
There's so many ways you can take it in twists in these movies.
Yeah. I was hoping for that ending, but...
Yeah, they could have made him be insane.
Because the ending was kind of like... What are the chances of him... There was a lot of, like, iron bars everywhere. He just happened to go right.
Yeah, that was my one...
Yeah. Go a little bit to the left, smash his head.
That was always my one, like...
That's a tough one.
And by the way, he didn't jump where he was supposed to. He jumped 10 feet over where there wasn't a big airbag. And... right into the wooden floor.
Imagine though, there's a lot of trials with physics, testing everything.
Yeah, but imagine you're there for the birthday party. You're like, all right, poosh into your table. You're like, oh.
Well, they know that that's gonna happen though.
No, into their table. If he was, 10
if he
feet
went
off.
the wrong way, yeah,
that would have been the best ending. And then just credits.
And that's kind of how they show that as the false ending right before that of just them surprising him with the cake and it's a surprise, and he shoots his brother and they're like, you ruined it. This was supposed to be a party. It was going to be great. You destroyed it all. And so they give you that false ending that you would have gotten. So we still get to see that, and we get to see the happy ending of it. And he's changed forever now. But I think I kind of liked that they didn't go to the he's actually crazy or part of this is a dream or that. Everything's real. Everything's there. There's no supernatural element. There's chance in this. But there's nothing, everything is in the practical world in this movie. So I kind of like that. Any other comments about it? Notes?
It had a really good rising action. Once it started.
Once it finally started.
Once the engine got started.
Yeah.
But in between, there are still some lag time for me. Same thing with The Master. It's like, they could have cut out a lot of scenes and a lot of just dead air.
This was not as much lag.
No, it's not as much. But they could have like broke it down, like took away 20 minutes of it, and it would have been a lot better.
Rewatching it kind of went a lot faster for me than I had remembered it going, because I was watching the movie and in the middle of it I went to go change rooms to watch in a different room. So I paused the movie and see what time I was at. It was at an hour. There was only half an hour left of it, and I had thought that there was a lot longer left in it. So that last
watching
half
it the
hour
second time would be fun. Like with Fight Club, when you watch Fight Club the second time, you're like, okay, this makes sense. Okay, I could see that happen. And your mind's it's working a different way. Yeah. So watching it twice is probably cool.
Now you understand all the games.
A lot of times.
Fight Club?
No, the game. I watched this movie.
Oh, really?
I've watched this movie a lot.
I've only seen it 3 times, but it's...
I'll probably only watch... I won't watch it again.
Yeah. Eventually, if you watch it again, like to show someone else the movie, it's going to be like, hey, watch this one. But watching it again, you see every single point. You see how they're planning it, and you start thinking of, this is...
This is where they did that.
So it's
like Clue.
If you watch this movie again and it didn't work that way,
or is this how it ended?
Yeah, there are problems in some thrillers and directors that don't get to the level that David Fincher gets to with doing thrillers, because in other ones that there are holes in them where you say this. Watching it again, you say, "Well, that doesn't make sense because of this. It doesn't actually."
That always bothered me when they gotta keep their continuity straight.
Yeah, that's the thing about this. It was surprisingly all like plausible in that.
I think that's what Fincher's really good at. He knows.
That's what I did like.
With how many times I watched it, the
only
only thing is the end.
Yeah,
that is the only thing.
It's a thing that's really tough to believe, but the chance let it happen, and that's what happened this time.
Yeah.
So luckily that happened.
Luckily
it could have happened the other way, where he fell a little to the side and died and ruined it all. It could have happened, but that's at least how it did happen on this one. It's believable that could have happened. But they're not holes in the beginning. I think that's what Fincher probably does with these scripts. He takes the script, and maybe the script wasn't the best. It doesn't have the greatest dialogue in it, but I'm sure he goes through it and combs through it to make sure before he films it that each thing is planned out here. That if we're going to say that this is going to be here, then we've got each of these things in place and everything makes sense. And he does really well with that.
Yeah, that was really good.
Yes.
Good continuity, except for that part.
Good continuity. Yes. So, what did you rate this movie?
I gave it a 3.
You gave it a 3?
Yeah, just because there were parts where I really got into it, and then there was parts where I was like, I'm going to pause it and check my Jurassic Park.
Your Park
yeah.
brother.
Well, if you're not giving the movie a chance
The full attention.
Full attention.
Because I'm like, there's parts where I'm just like, I mean, I paused it and then I went back.
But it's still like that breaks up your action.
Yeah, that breaks up.
So then you're not building the tension the exact same way. That's why I do love watching films at a movie theater more than anywhere else because you're forced to just be. It's there. It's there in front of you. There's nothing else.
Oh no! When I was watching The Master in the movie theater,
just like
that. I mean,
it's like why you don't watch films on TV anymore because you'll get the commercials. You'll get that little person popping up. This is coming up next. In the middle of the film.
Big Bang, Bazing.
Any little thing can take you out of that, and that can hinder your appreciation of the film if you're not watching it beginning to end. Focus on the film, but yeah, I can kind of see where you're getting at the 3 stars. There with that.
Although if they were to remake it, I think somebody could do a really good job with it. Awesome job. Yeah. Or at least the same premise.
Wachowski brothers or something.
They'd have to be monitored at least. They're really good with visual style. They're good with a lot of things, but I think to get the same greatness on it, you'd have to have David Fincher or someone monitoring them with it.
You know who could do it?
Make sure that you don't go too crazy with this. Don't lose your audience.
Quentin Tarantino could do a crazy one, like an insane one
with that premise. I think he still needs that premise. Fincher needs to be there to rein people in and keep them back, keep them focused. All right, don't go too many N-words. All right, we got to cross that out.
Can't give it to M. Night Shyamalan.
Yeah, then he'd make something completely different twist. Everyone else was the gay. It was actually him playing it on them.
He was actually an alien. Shyamalan. Game on you.
No, what'd you rate it?
I'd give it a 4.
4? Yeah. I should probably give it a 4, but I think just because of the premise that it made me give it a 5, just because I love that premise so much more that it's one of my favorite premises of any movie. So I think if they did make a remake of it, once they make a remake that's better, that just cleans up those quality issues of it, the pacing issues in there, then I can give that one a 5 and then reduce this one down. But this is just one of those. It feels like a Hitchcock film, a classic Hitchcock film. Yeah. Even more than Twilight Zone, but it's a classic Hitchcock premise, and you just I love it. I love the premise.
Yeah. The premise is what does it for me.
Yeah,
totally.
It's definitely a 5-star premise.
So
I just heard premise 8 times in about 12 seconds.
Premise. I saw premise.
It's not even a word anymore.
Premise is pretty awesome.
Jack,
Les Claypool. Premise.
Les Claypool.
Premise.
Lead singer and bass player of Premise. Alright. So
good movie.
Steffan, you have next pick.
Yeah, my next pick was a 2000 film. And the Netflix description's actually good. Wow, I don't remember if I wasn't here last week, so I don't know if the game one was good.
I didn't even read the game premise of it.
Hopefully it was alright.
I don't think we even talked about the game premise. We just said that it was
from 97, not the other ones.
97, not the other one, just the game. Because all you really need to know about the game going into it is the title. Just it's a game. It's a game.
This movie I rated 5 stars. I picked Memento.
Oh yeah. It's a great movie.
So rewatch it.
It's a spoiler. I rated it 5 stars because we normally talk about that.
Yeah, I like to watch Memento backwards. I put it in reverse.
It's rated R. I really he has Well,
we'll talk more about that later. We don't want to spoil anything.
We just started right now. Okay, so Memento.
Well, we should
stars Guy Pearce.
We could start talking about the movie right now. But we might.
We probably actually can get away with that. We all watch the movie.
Let's see if we can find someone who hasn't seen Memento. Maybe we'll bring them in next week to talk about it with us. Yeah, but it's tough to find someone who hasn't. Now it is a Puerto Rican woman. We'll just make sure we get a really good discussion of it next week.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see if we can find someone who hasn't seen it.
Yeah, but if you haven't seen Memento, definitely check that out. Watch Memento.
Yeah, rated R.
Rated R, though.
Rated R.
Rated R.
So don't let your children, you can let them watch it.
Roughly 2 hours long. It's director Christopher Nolan. Christopher Nolan's one of his early works.
Yes.
And Guy Pearce, Carrie-Anne Moss.
Yeah.
He's Trinity and Matrix.
If you like Batman.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
It's pretty much just Batman. It's pretty much the exact same thing as Dark Knight.
Yeah, it might as well just be the
It might as well be Dark Knight. It's pretty much the same movie. All right. Go watch that.
His early Dark Knight.
We have no...
It makes it really good, though.
There are no crazy foods or anything we could bring into this movie.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have a clown doll.
You didn't have a clown doll?
A life-size clown doll. That would have been what I would have.
I'm like looking around. You guys gonna play a trick on me? Something's gonna fall.
Something. Little do you know that once you exit here, the game has begun, and everything in your life for the next week.
I just get hit with a bat and thrown in the back of a van.
Exactly.
And they're like, hey, hey.
So comment on our videos, rate and review us, subscribe everywhere, and thank you all for watching and listening.